a strategic game where you move from hexagon to hexagon, grinding your enemies to dust with various units. Except Gandhi isn't nuking us. This isn't Civilization. We do less popular games here. Salutations everyone, welcome to Project Nerd, where nearly everything is reviewed and discussed. This is Steam Gems, where we dig up some lesser-known polished games worth your time and attention. I am your excavator extraordinaire Danny, and today we're going into our part 2 of our 3-part series on the studio Suspicious Developments. For a little more background on the studio and seeing their first game, Gunpoint, check out the link in the description or pop that little eye in the corner. Or you can just stick around today and watch our awesome review. Let's dig in. Published on March 3rd, 2017, Morphblade, like all other Suspicious Development games, is at its core a puzzle game, but still unique and different than its other releases. For example, Gunpoint was a stealth platformer with heavy puzzle elements. Morphblade is an arcade game with puzzle elements to it, and the only objective is to see how many rounds you can go without dying pixely death. So, each hex represents a type of weapon or item that your icon will become. Either a hammer, an arrow, a blade, a repair kit, acid, or a teleporter, and they all do different things based on what your icon actually becomes. Hammers allow you to smash enemies in front of you without having to move. Arrows allow you to move 2 spaces, piercing anything in their path. Blades slice through anything on the sides of the hexes you move to. Repair keeps you less dead by resetting your health back to 2. Acid strips the armor off of enemies when they land on it and doesn't actually do anything else. And teleport allows you to zip, zap, bop anywhere on the map you so desire. Every round you kill all the bugs, and then you get to add a new hex to your board, rinse and repeat till you are pixely goo. So, in addition to that, every time you get 6 kills on a particular hex, you get to upgrade that hex with power based on the hex type around it. Now, fun fact, that then means each individual hex could be uniquely made in up to 4,320 possible combinations. And since there are 30 hexes on a board, you're ultimately limited in how many final possible board combinations you can make, because it's kind of like Sudoku, where you have to have certain hexes in certain spaces and can't have repeating ones in certain rows and columns, otherwise you're just going to get redundancy. And the board is always freaking asymmetrical, and that just throws it off even more, so until I get bored enough to measure out exactly how many possible board combinations you can get, we're just going to say it's a lot. Now, the game itself is simple in execution. You just move from hex to hex, potentially mashing, slashing, or stabbing bugs along your way. It's the prep work that makes you do your thinking. What routes you can take to avoid yourself getting mashed, slashed, stabbed, or blasted, and what hexes you should get between your rounds. And that's about it. It's a really great way to kill about 5 to 10 minutes between, bathroom, office job, writer's blocks, and existential crises related to getting these videos done. Now, what I described is literally all the game. That's kind of one of the downsides to this. It lacks any of Gunpoint's story, or really any story at all, and there's almost none of that Suspicious Development's dry, sardonic humor charm that Gunpoint had. Almost being the optimal word here. You see, when I booted this game up the very first time, and several times afterwards, all it went through was just to the board itself. Like, there's no menu, there's no instructions, tutorial, whatever. You just boot it up and you go. And while I do kind of prefer a kind of less hand-holdy style of game like that, there is a little bit of a problem with that, is there's no menu, there's no tutorial, no rules, nothing. Like, unless you know that you have to hit the current round's number in order to get to the actual menu. Which then has the instructions on it and some tips for it, as well as a little bit of that that humor I was talking about. But, like, for me, personally, that took about 7 or 8 playthroughs to eventually find on accident, because I got bored and just clicked one of the buttons. But I think we could have kind of met halfway here. No, the game is simple enough that you don't need complex instructions, but all you gotta do, establish the rules and let the player master. And that's about it. If you just want an arcade-style puzzle game that takes a little time to get used to, you can't go wrong. So, like all the Suspicious Developments games, I can give a high recommendation for this. Not as solid, I admit, as Gunpoint, but it's certainly a good distraction and a nice brain stimulator. Its full asking price right now is $4.99, so, you know, just don't get a nice coffee one day and you can buy this game. But if you are a caffeine addict, like I am, you can wait for a sale, like I did. I personally bought this when it was 75% off and got it down to $1.24. Like, you could probably go in your couch and car and fish that much money out. Like, it's a steal. Utter steal. But with that, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you all very much for watching the video and sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. And I recognize this wasn't the longest of our episodes, but I will certainly make up for that in our third and final episode on Suspicious Developments Library with Heat Signature. Make sure you subscribe and dong that bell icon to be the first to see that finale. And while you're down there, might as well leave a like and a comment and discuss below. What'd you think of the review? Have you ever played Morphblade before? And if so, what'd you think of it? Did my review give you incentive to go and buy it? But until next time, I'm Danny. This has been Project Nerd, where nearly everything is reviewed and discussed. And this has been Steam Gem.